That's some bullspit. Lost connection. Well, sorry about that, Alan. See if we can get this. See if we can keep going here. Oh my gosh. We're looking at this beast fall devating. It should be devastating, but it's devating. It's debatable or debatable whether or not it's a magic card. I'm gonna fail it. I'm gonna fail it. I've been rooked by the system. Non-functional junk tax. Glacial Golem. Building a Pantlaza Blink Commander deck. I hope to get my Jund Dinos going. I want some Jund Dinos. Jundinos. What are you going to do? It's really too bad. Let's give it a second here. We're having a little technical difficulties here this morning on the stream, if you know what I mean. I had her going there for about a half hour, but let's start it all over again. Welcome back, everybody. It's Brody Alfonso here on the morning show, Wednesday edition of the show. I appreciate you folks for joining me. What do they do with bad rainbows? They send them to prison for a light sentence. That's right. Get them out of here. Today we're looking at some AI generated magic cards. I'm hoping you folks will join me again. Give me a comment in the chat section there if you're joining us again for the first time. I really appreciate you folks for tuning in. If you were on the stream earlier this morning, we were running just too hot this morning. We blew the torque converter out of her and probably a couple of solenoids. Now she's backfiring the stream. The OBS system is backfiring, shooting a couple of flames out of the tailpipe and a little bit of smoke, puff of smoke, and we're gone. So let's give it a minute here for folks to rejoin in chat. I was having a lot of fun reading some AI generated magic cards this morning with you folks here. We could do a couple more. For those of you tuning in for the first time, let's take a look at these AI generated magic cards, and the rules are as follows. If there's any gibberish on the card whatsoever, we fail it. If the card is playable, however, we'll give it a pass. If it's got any gibberish on there, if it doesn't make any sense, even if it's a little overpowered, we'll probably give it a pass. If it's a little underpowered, that's fine too. There are some bad magic cards out there, but if it's playable, functional, got text on it, no gibberish, got a casting cost, and it will actually make it around the board in a game of Magic, you're gonna hear this sound. That's the sound of the dinger, my man. And if not, if it's got any gibberish on the card, we're gonna fail it. You're gonna hear this sound. That's the sound of the buzzing, cousin. All right, good. I'm glad to see some of you folks made it back here this morning. We were running a little too hot this morning. I got one more AI generated magic card for you folks here this morning, and I'm going to read it. Then we'll get into some articles here at the stock desk. Let's take a look at this one here, folks. Glacial Totem. Toting this magic card here for you folks. Glacial Totem costs a green and 2 for this enchant creature card. Whenever a bard comes blocked by a legendary creature, destroy that creature, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. Close the stream and reopen it. That usually fixes the fuzz. Thanks for coming back on with me, folks. Yeah. Close the stream and then reopen it. Am I doing that wrong? I just ended the stream. It said reconnecting. It was giving me a little problem. Let's see here. We'll get some notifications. What do you like? Do you like this card, DJ? Whenever a bard becomes blocked by a legendary creature, destroy that creature, then return the card to the battlefield under your control. I mean, it's bardy situational. Card tribal, right? All right, let's give this a pass. What do you think? It is awesome. It's bard tribal. It seems not too good, but not too bad at the same time. Let's do one more. Oh yeah, look at this. I like the look of this. Is this going to go in the rock? Is this our new Golgari wolf creature? This thing is wicked. Wow, a 2/2 wolf creature for a green, black, and 1. You get the snow wolf. This is something that could be straight out of the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. All your bards. Whenever Radamler Triggering attacks, destroy target multicolored permanent. And it's got Soul Shift 2 on. I don't know. Does anybody know what Soul Shift is? I think we should err on the side of caution. Let's just say it's a new mechanic. And we'll give it a pass here this morning. All right. Today could be a very, very good day. I think. Do you like tracking the prices of Magic cards? Is there enough information out there, folks? Or is there just too much information? Well, grab yourself a cup of coffee and join me, Brody Alfonso, on the morning show when we go over some Magic the Gathering news and articles here today. That's a good cup. An article here from Steve Heisler. Steve's written some articles for the Stock Desk. We've had him on the show in article form once before. Not a bad read, if I do remember. I do say so myself. So let's just have a look at this article here by Steve Heisler saying the best Magic set of 2023 for Commander. So a look back here with Steve at the year in review when it comes to Commander. And I want to read it, folks, with you. Let's have a look here. What does Steve have to say for us here at the Stock Desk? All right. Welcome back to another History Restapled in Commander, which is focused column that attempts to validate newer cards' status as a staple by looking at how cards that are similar, synergistic, or competing have fared in the past financially. Okay, so a financial look at some Commander staples this morning. Refreshed, good to go now. Okay, I'm glad. Thanks, Alan. Sorry about that, boys. I had some issues on my end too. It's not just you. It's both of us. There's bugs. It's hump day. Nobody wants to get up and go. Last year was a banger. A banner? Yeah, last year was a banner for Commander. A, I would go with a banger there, but that's okay. Last year was a banner one for Commander in every conceivable way, containing goofy, powerful new commanders, minted staples, utility players, and high-profile reprints with a meaningful impact on prices. Among several all-stars, it was still the Universe Beyond Doctor Who release that checked all the boxes for me. It showcased the game's best and most powerful aspects while covering new ground in a way that felt authentic to the show. It also introduced some of the best new cards of the year, many of which have become instant format staples even for players with zero interest in Doctor Who. The mechanics, though, are what put it over the top. All right, three-dimensional mechanics. New three-dimensional mechanics. What are we talking about here? first, second, and third dimension. We got my favorite thing about Magic the Gathering is how the game remains innovative in spite of its 30 plus years history, iterating on every conceivable new tweaked mechanic. One of the most significant advances in this regard was when the design team began iterating on the fact that this is a game played with cardboard rectangles that can be physically manipulated. Not that there wasn't precedent, but Chaos Orb was printed in the Alpha editions, and MDFC's morph creatures and abilities that trigger when other cards change zones from anywhere, encouraging the player to consider not only what the card does, but that it's an actual object. You want to hold it in your hand. Okay, we got all of history all at once. This one's got time travel on it for each suspend card you own and each permanent you control. With a time counter on it, you may add or remove a time counter. Storm. When you cast this it's got Storm. When you cast this spell, you got to copy it for spell cast before it. It's a sorcery, kind of slow. So this one's manipulating the time counters. We got Joyra's Time Bug that did that, but this add or remove a time counter seems okay. In the rare slot, though, it doesn't seem very good for format. And then Cyber Conversion, turn target creature face down. It's a 2/2 Cyberman. Oh, had a little sneeze there. And then we got the Cyber Ship, the flying 8/8 for 6 mana. Whenever Cyber Ship deals combat damage to a player, put the top 2 cards of that player's library onto the battlefield, face down, under your control. They're 2/2 Cyberman artifact creatures. Okay, Cyber Monday. This is a card you might want to play on a Monday. The Doctor Who cards run down many of the game's most memorable mechanics while introducing and codifying others that encourage interaction with the rectangles themselves. Guys, all about the rectangles here this morning. He's all about the tangles. Oh, good. Folks are back. Nice to see. Hey, Mr. Bean. Nice to see you. I'm going to make this a little bigger for us here. Let's keep going on Steve Heisler's article here this morning. Suspend returns and gains support from time travel as a means to advance the game being played with cards not in the game. Paradox feels like the evolutionary peak of the Cast from Exile abilities found on Prosper, Timebound, and PNLR console of Revival, but expands its reach to include the graveyard, top of the library, and manifested cards. Although the action is not officially mechanized, Cyber Conversion and Cyber Ship herald the return of flipping cards upside down. The Doctor Who decks play best in 3 dimensions. So classic mechanics get a boost and a buddy. This is the pilot mechanic. Returning mechanics mesh well with the Doctor Who universe and are given a chance at a new life on powerful cards. Vanishing, a major flavor within this release, can be manipulated by time travel and appears on what is now one of the best clone effects in the format, Flesh Duplicate. This one? The duplicate. Historic permanents increase their relevance thanks to cards like Displaced Dinosaurs and the 6th Doctor, Cyberman Squad, and the Master multiplied Push Myriad beyond its limit and encourage nothing if not shenanigans of the highest order. I support shenanigans of the highest order, especially in Magic. And you should too. All right, well, the Doctor Who companion is technically a new mechanic. I'd say it falls pretty darn close to a Friends Forever and represents a great middle ground between choosing a background and straight up giving these 3 cards partner. Choosing a background offered players the chance to customize their commander zone with the Baldur's Gate universe, but I find most of the backgrounds unplayable because it's very easy to render them useless, and killing someone's commander now represents a 2-for-1 every time. What do we got here? Okay, so the flesh duplicate, 2 mana for the shapeshifter. You may have flesh duplicate enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it has vanishing 1 or vanishing 3. That creature doesn't, if it doesn't have vanishing. Well, I like the phantasmal image a little bit more, but that's okay. Flesh duplicate isn't better than phantasmal image, is it? I like the phantasmal. Morning, Murray Cooper. Thanks for joining. I think the phantasmal image is better because the vanishing, right? And then the Cyberman Squadron, 7 mana, 5/5 artifact, non-legendary artifact creatures you control have myriad. So everything gains myriad, and then whenever a creature with myriad attacks for each opponent other than defending player, you may create a token that's a copy of of that creature that's tapped and attacking, and then player or planeswalker they control exile the token at the end of combat. So myriad gives you the tokens, and then Nardole. This is resourceful cyborg. I don't know. This looks like something off a Christmas movie. We got a 1/2 for a blue and 1. Legendary artifact creature scientist. Taps for a blue for each counter on Nardo. Spend this mana only to cast non-creature spells. Undying. And then this Doctor's Companion. You can have 2 commanders if the other is a doctor. There's a couple of backgrounds that will age well just as standalone enchantments. You know, I've also not researched these backgrounds. To me, I was just kind of like underwhelmed with the backgrounds. I wasn't really like excited, too excited about the backgrounds. I sort of thought it was. I'd rather a creature in there, like unless it was something that was like OP, and you're like, man, I can't go without this. I never haven't seen a play case for the backgrounds just yet. The Doctor's Companion unlocks decks that deck personalization while placing a few necessary guardrails on what's possible in the Doctor. It might be a little bit much, but cheap compensations like Sarah Jane, Nardole, a resourceful cyborg, and Canine Mark uh, offer a ton of value, perhaps alongside a Doctor with an explosive but less reliable effect. Some, like Clara Oswald, are tied closely to the Doctor pair, while others turn kitchenware into blunt weaponry of their own volition. Each offers something distinct and, most importantly, stands on its own. As a bonus, fans of the TV series can pair it up with their favorites across time, space, and syndication agreements. Hey, Cosmic Seeds, nice to see you here. Guten Tag. Nice to see you here. All you folks joining here, anybody from around the world, I like it when people join in from the other side of the globe. It's great. I get to say hello to you folks before the sun gets up. You got a cup of coffee? I'm reading an article from the Stock Desk by Steve Heisler talking about the best commander cards of 2023. As Steve would see it, there's plenty to discover. While the Doctor cards would build their own universe via exemplary artwork into a deep knowledge of the show for the universes beyond to be successful initiative, Wizards has to hook players who know nothing about the aforementioned universe. That would mean the cards that have to be good and a few that must be busted. You're in Kentucky. I like it. It's a Christmas carol, right? It is. The list of excellent Doctor Who cards is long, but some of my favorites are Cyber, Conversion, Flesh Duplicate, Reverse the Polarity, because that was already a card. The Flux, Displaced Dinos. I think DJ's playing that. And the Master Multiplied. Cybership, Psychic Paper. 10. Let's look at what's Psychic Paper. 2 mana artifact. Equipment. Psychic Paper becomes attached to a creature. Choose a type, creature card, and name, and a creature type. Okay. The creature has ward 1. It can't be blocked, and its name and creature type are the last chosen name and creature type. Click 2. I never got behind the Doctor Who set. You know what? I'm going to disclaimer. I have never watched a single episode of Doctor Who, ever. I'm not even going to pretend to like Doctor Who, to know what Doctor Who is. I know what it is because I went over to my buddy, the Portuguese. I went over to the Portuguese place over the winter holidays, and he explained to me, like, if you're going to get down and on it with some Doctor Who, you got to start with like season something. You neither? Okay, I'm not alone here, right? I've never watched a Doctor Who. I don't know any of the characters. I know it was a English show from like 70s, and then they like rebooted it. But to me, I'm just like, meh, who cares? But who cares, right? So I say it with me now. I haven't seen any. That's cool. I'm glad I'm not alone in this one. There's probably a lot of people that are disconnected because they haven't watched it, right? And then I guess the idea is to draw new fans in, and that's good. I think that's what the game is all about. Check out Passionate Archaeologist background. I like it. Passionate. Hey, you're passionate. Aw, no, the local game store. You're passionate. Turn around. Passionate Archaeologist. Is that one of the ones he mentioned here? We'll have to look that up. This one? If there was a background you could choose, would it be this one? Win or lose? You got the 2 mana legendary enchant background. It's red. Commander creatures you own have, whenever you cast a spell from exile, this creature deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to target opponent. That doesn't seem too crappy. Not too pretty bad, I would say. This ain't terrible. Commander creatures you own have, whenever you cast a spell from exile, this creature deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to target opponent. So it could be any commander. I mean, I could run this in, I guess, mono red, right? Why not? Okay. I think hot dice, you're starting to pique my interest on these backgrounds. That one's not too bad, hey? Thank you for that. If there was a background you could choose, it would be that one. I like it. It seems good. Have you played with it? I haven't played with any backgrounds. I'm just keeping it old school and kicking it with creatures. All right, through chatter and about the set has subsided, I think many of the Doctor Who cards will regain relevance further down the line. The mechanics of the set, like Paradox and the focus on historic permanence, are generic enough to apply across a range of playstyles and keywords. In other cases, the set contains a card that is very strong within a particular niche. For example, Barbara Wright is incredibly strong if you're playing the Saga game. Also, dinosaurs will be cool. Set ways. Like we mentioned at the top, the year has been packed with many, many cards, so the margin of difference between sets is razor thin, precisely for this reason that I'd be curious to hear from what others think. Far better and more fun to have a conversation about good cards and sets than have to sift through an infinite dreck. Plus, from what you can all probably tell, we're not a huge Doctor Who person, though I very much admire the show. I'm not the most qualified to deep dive into the specificity and the lore of the show. Help with that would be greatly appreciated, and I'll be sure to step up if a Legend of Zelda set ever arrives. Nicely done. I'm sort of in the same ballpark as Steve Heisler. I don't know much. I don't know spit about Doctor Who. I know that it's a doctor and then he dies and he comes back as like a different dude. And that's all that I know. Maybe Fortell and stuff haven't sleeved it up yet, but I'm thinking of where I want it. Yes, yes. A little bit of background. Nice to see you here. Hot Dice, Murray Cooper. We got Alan Cajon in the house. Alan Cajon, thank you for joining us. Mr. DJ and a few of the amazing fans, the best darn viewers in the world, fans of the Magic the Gathering. Thank you all for joining us. All right. What are we going to do here this morning? We got one more article for you folks here today. It's Wednesday. We did some AI generated cards. Maybe let's check out the movers and shakers, and then that's going to be it. It's going to be a quick one here today. Getting on past the hour. If you guys haven't seen or heard of it, have you heard of the Hasbro Hunger Games? Has anybody brought this up? Hasbro Hunger Games. Anybody? No? Well, you may hear a little bit about it. I think we'll do something on that later on this morning, but keep your eyes out. It's breaking, it's breathtaking, and it's not exactly what you think. All right, Pauper. Let's roll that list, folks. You hear that sound? Sound of the wish list. Pauper cards, the best Pauper cards you could ask for. It's Wednesday, it's January 10th. It's hump day, it's the middle of the week. We're going to take a look at your movers and the shakers here this morning. Let's get that up here. What did the tree say on a Wednesday? Leave me alone. I'm just trying to get through the week. All right, these are your movers in the shaker for today on the Pauper list. Yes, Modern Mondays, Tuesday Pioneer, Whopper Wednesday? No, Pauper Wednesday. Get some Whopper and some. Join the show. Get a Whopper and some Pauper in life here this morning. Coming in at the top of the pile, this is a card that I got, thankfully, thanks to Dual Brain. Also touted as one of the most annoying cards in the game of Magic. Would you like to pay the one? This card coming in at $37, despite seeing a couple of reprints already. We're going to take a look. What's the cheapest version? Oh, wow. You can get the Enchanting Tales one for $200. No thanks. Wow. This one is worth $200. It's the anime art that's pushing it up. But this card was printed at a common from Prophecy, right? I think I've got this one. I did a pack break over at the Dual Brain channel, so this was my big hit. I got a Ristic Study, my very first one, so I got a pack fresh Ristic Study for my Commander deck. The first and only one I ever got. Boy, does it ever feel good when you don't buy a Magic card and you actually open it. That's what I'm talking about. I'd rather build with cards that open. Sometimes you gotta pay a piper, or you gotta pay one for this card. It's like 30 something bucks. How that's the confetti foil? Nice study from Dual Brain, right? Yes, the confetti foil, $400. Let's take a look at the money. Let's take a look at the money. You want to play this is shifted to Mythic. Oh my god. You want to play Pauper with the blinged out 400 and change dollar card? This sucker here it launched at 600. $400 to $600 here. Peaked up to 600. And then it's just sort of been going east to west ever since, right? Can this hold up? I don't know. A lot of people like anime is going nuts right now. A lot of people like these anime art cards. They really do. I can see why. Something a little different, right? Some beautiful, beautiful art on those cards. But the $30, if you don't want to pay the $400 for your Pauper deck, you can get the $30. Still amazed we've I've met someone who hates cracking packs. Still amazed I've met someone who hates cracking packs? Who hates cracking packs? That is amazing. I really, you gotta tell me this one. Do dish on this one. Mirror Enforcer? Right? Yeah, Mirror Enforcer. A 7 mana 4/4. This is a card, right? I think I've seen this played a few times. It's the affinity mechanic, so it costs one less for each artifact that you control. So this 4/4 is probably going to be coming on the battlefield for less than 7. I should hope so. When you got some mana rocks in there, if you got some rocks or some mocks, this will do it. The Mirror Enforcer, the 4/4 common slot, of course, Affinity is going to be playing it. This one's bumped up. How much are we? $1.64. I wonder how much the alternate versions are. What's the most expensive one? $9.76 for the foil promo, and everything else kind of under $1 or $2. Ancient Den. The artifact lands, $4. I always thought the red one was the best. And then you got the seat of the synod, you got the ancient den, you got the great furnace, you got the green one, and I guess you got the black one too. I can't remember the names off the top of my head. Only so many versions of this. Oh, it was time shifted as well? Not too pretty bad. Artifact lands, of course, affinity. That's right. All the decks playing these artifact lands, affinity. They're good even in Legacy because you can sack them to a Goblin Welder. They give you Metalcraft, artifact lands. I think they had to ban them in some formats. So let me take a look here. Commander legal. It's legal in Legacy, but Modern, that's where they had to ban these because they were just too darn good. Here's a card that I'm really stoked about. I got a box of these Red Elemental Blasts from when I was a young gaffer cracking packs, and they're like a $5 bill now in the Canadian money. That's like $1 in the United States money. Red Elemental Blast, REB. Nice card. Common, counter target blue spell, destroy target blue permanent. You got options on this one because you could play the Pyroblast. It's sort of the same thing from Ice Age, but if you want an alternate copy, you want like of the same effect, you can play the Pyroblast, just slightly different wording on there. Not sure if that matters to you. So the Pyroblast, of course, a good permission spell. It's really good. It's definitely one of the best cards, isn't it? 1 mana, blow something up. 1 mana, ruin a blue mage's day. I like the color pie with this one. So we got the Red Elemental Blast, Mystic Sanctuary. Yes, this card was also banned, $1 or $2. I think this card's really good. It can't be banned in Pauper because we don't have cards like Cryptic Command to go with it. But Modern, yes, it definitely saw a banning right here. This common was OP. When I saw it come out, I was like, wow, a land that counts as an island, and it enters the battlefield if it comes in untapped. You may put target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on top of the battlefield. Another card that I mentioned goes with Spelunking, right? The more I look at it, the card Brody's picks for the year, card Spelunking and the Caves, the Echoing Deeps. Imagine playing with this. So you get the Echoing Deeps that copies any land from the graveyard, and then the Spelunking that says lands you control enter the battlefield untapped. Blue mages can DIAF. I stick one in every red deck. I wish there was a slot for blue elemental blast, right? All right, the Mystic Sanctuary used to create that infinite loop. If you can loop it with Time Walk, I did get to play it for a hot minute in the turns deck when it was legal in Modern, then bang, banned. But Beanstalk's playing it in Legacy, Commander. A few other decks are playing it in other formats. So, like I say, long term, I don't think this card's going to get a reprint simply for the fact that it was banned. So, banned in Modern, they're not going to allow this thing to get a reprint. So, it could be one of those cards, like picking up some foil versions long term might be okay. Let's see where we're at here, because this actually is a really strong card. Yeah, it's actually ticking up in price. Look at the chart on this. I'm very interested. The 50-cent common went up to $1. It did see a banning. It is such a cheap card at common that it didn't even affect the price hardly when it is banned in Modern. It just been going up because it's usable in other formats. So this is a decent card. I'd like to see it.
Buy low, sell high, that's my motto. I may just quit my job at the power plant and become a full-time stock market guy.
I like it. Thank you, Homer. All right, the memes continue until the morale improves. Scred. Here's another card that I saw making waves last year. This sucker in. Let's take a look. Scred deals damage to target creature equal to the number of snow permanents you control. Look at the foil premium on this. Some of these cold snap foils are worth a pretty penny. $50. Make you holla for a copy of Scred in foil. But it's playable in Pauper. It sees play just in Pauper. Maybe a little bit in Commander too. Decent card. If you're holding on to the Scred is fire, right? Snow permanents you control. Damage to target creature equal to the number of snow permanents you control for 1 red. So you're getting like the Astrolabe, you're getting like the lands, you're getting the artifacts, the snow artifacts. Yeah, not bad. Or is it just the lands that give you the snow? Relic of Progenitus. Here's a decent card. Some like the Soul Guide Lantern. Relic's actually kind of good. It's hard to say which one's better, but you might think the Relic is a little better because you get to exile all graveyards and draw a card. I kind of like this over the Soul Guide Lantern now that I look at it. If you look at them side by each, the Soul Guide Lantern's not bad, but this card's definitely got upside. It's 1 mana. You can tap it to exile a card from target player's graveyard, and then you got to pay 1. The Soul Guide Lantern, you just have to tap it and sack it, and then you can exile a graveyard, or you can draw a card by paying 1. But this one's got both on the stick. It's 1 mana. You get to exile the relic and all cards in all graveyards. Unfortunately, this hits your own graveyard. So if graveyard matters to you, then you want to be playing the Soul Guide Lantern. This sucker was printed at uncommon. It's actually worth a couple of bucks. A Finn, a $5.25 for this. Playable in Pauper. Also, a good sideboard piece if you need a little bit of graveyard hate, because that tends up mattering from time to time, especially in Modern. People are reanimating. Well, Modern Legacy, even Commander, people are reanimating stuff from the bin, bringing stuff back. We see it here. Modern Pauper, a lot of Pauper lists here playing it. Jeskai Affinity Burn, Demir Fairies, Golgari Gardens, and Boros Synthesizer Coggates, and Amulet Titan also playing it too in Modern. Amulet Titan's now green. Amulet Titan is now Gruul. I'm going to have to take a look at that. And Hammer Time, of course. Merchant Scroll. What a great card from the Homelands block. Anybody here play when Homelands was released? I did. I cracked lots of packs of Homelands. I even opened some of this card. I had it sitting in a box and nobody gave a darn about it until Commander became a thing. People are like, do you have Merchant Scroll? Search your library for a blue instant card, reveal that card, put it in your hand, then shuffle. So if you can play at flash speed, this sucker can cast during your opponent's turn. You're going to need a little Teferi to do that. But other than that, you can get you your other tutor, can get you the mystical tutor, the good one that plays at instant speed. But nevertheless, this Merchant Scroll is a half decent tutor. It was printed in the first time, the Homelands block. What's it going to cost us to buy it if we wanted to? $4.60. You know, Homelands was so cheap. It was like $2-3 a pack, $2 or $3 a pack when Homelands came out. This thing's seen some fire. Yeah, I think it's probably an option, right? It's a $4 tutor. Not bad. You get the instant or sorcery. You maybe want to go get yourself a copy of Time Walk or maybe a combo piece. Does it go on top of the library? You get it in the hand. Yeah, no, you get it straight to the hand. So this one goes right in your hand. Lura Saga Underworld Breach. Vintage is playing it, right? Who wouldn't want to play it in Vintage? Turbo Vault. Ooh, look at some of these deck lists. I gotta take a look into these. 4-color Turbo Vault. Hello. And then of course the familiars. The deck that you may or may not be familiar with. Snuff Out. All right. Here's a card I need to get this card. It's any card with an alternate casting cost. Like Cave In, an awesome card. This one in foil, man, I almost think like a guy should buy a foil copy of this. $175 though. Oh, there goes my lunch money for the next 6 months. Snuff Out, a black and 3. You get to, if you control a swamp, you can pay 4 life instead of playing its casting cost. So it's definitely a free spell. Destroy target non-black creature, can be regenerated. Instant speed. It's even got Squee on it, and I think that may be a copy of the Weatherlight there. A really cool card from the Mercadian Mass block. I like this original art on it. It's $8.28. But it's a hundo, $1.75 in foil. 175 bucks. And then this card, the blinkiest of all of them. I never liked the art on this card. I always looked at this card and was like, well, somebody used a computer to make this art. It just looks really weird. Maybe it's just me, but it's ephemerating. Instant speed. This is a card that was played like with Coiling Oracle and any of the Blink decks. Time for work. Catch you later. Yeah, I got to do the same. Time for work. It's got rebound. This sucker goes back into your hand. If you cast it, I got to do the same, Mer. Have a fantastic day. I'll catch you later. Hopefully see you on weekend for a little bit of Commandsies. Orzhov Scam playing it. Jeskai Ephemerate, Goryo's Vengeance, Palanza, the Sun Flavored. A few other cards. Interesting. All right, folks.
Buy low, sell high, that's my motto. I may just quit my job at the power plant and become a full-time stock market guy.
I'm urging you folks to buy low and sell high. Appreciate each and every one of you folks for watching. We're trying to push up to, I'd like to hit that 500 subscriber mark this year. That would be a great accomplishment. We're just creeping up on the 300, I think 347. The 347 subscriber mark, which is a great place to be for me. I'll tell you, this is a hell of an accomplishment. And I could not do it without you folks watching. Appreciate each and every one of you. Hope you folks have a great day. It's hump day. Have a good one out there. Stay warm, stay dry, and buy low and sell high. This is your friend Brody Alfonso coming to you from the Stock Desk, Morning Magic Gathering Stocks and Talk. We'll see you folks on the next one. Show today.